Today is a day for controversy. So if you're not ready for controversy, better switch over to another episode because we're going to talk today about MQA, Master Quality Authenticated. And our question comes from the lovely state from which I was born, Hawaii. Stephen asks, what is MQA? And why is it such a polarizing music format? Some say it's detrimental to the music industry, while others say it's a revolution in sound quality. Could you please explain what it is, how it works, and why is it so polarizing? This is a thorny question. The MQA, Master Quality Authenticated, was a creation of my friend Bob Stewart. Bob Stewart owns Meridian. He is a brilliant man, and he's a cool guy. I like Bob a lot. He's a neat guy, and we support MQA in our products. And I'm not going to get into we don't do it in our DACs. We do it in our streaming things because MQA requires changes to our D to A converters that we are not willing to make because we don't want to compromise their performance or their sound. But let's move on. What is MQA? Well, first off, MQA, despite what some people think, is a lossy format as opposed to a lossless format. So you are giving up something when you play MQA. It's a compression format that loses information. Now, Bob will tell you the information lost is in the ultrasonic and you don't really need it, right? Okay. I'm not technically qualified to stand up and say this. I can just give you my opinion. I am personally not a fan of MQA. I have heard a number of demonstrations of it, and to my ears, it always robs the music of something that is near and dear to me. But others love it. Robert Harley, who I have the ultimate of respect for, he's the editor of the Absolute Sound magazine, and I think he adores it. So, and I've heard Robert's system. I haven't heard his latest one in California, but Robert's system is one of the finer systems I've heard. So it's not like he doesn't have a great resolving system. He does. We all look for different things in music. And before I start waxing philosophical for you, I want to try and explain what the goals are with MQA and what they're trying to accomplish. In its simplest form, they pulled off something that's kind of cool. By using the same amount of bandwidth for streaming as a CD has in streaming. So you're going to take a 44.1 16-bit streaming piece of music that has a certain amount of bandwidth required through a high-speed internet pipe, and by compressing it to that size, we can actually wind up getting, I think, as high as 192 kilohertz, 24-bit data on as you uncompress it. So that's kind of cool. It's cool, not so much for me as a user or a streamer, because there are other ways to do that I think are probably better. But for a streaming company, that's great news. A company like Tidal, for instance, when you stream something on Tidal, they simply can't afford the bandwidth required, which is tremendously greater to stream a 192.24 than it does a 16.41 CD. So here we have great advantage if you want to stream high resolution audio, which clearly is going to sound better than the 44.1, right? So that's a good advantage and hard to deny that kind of advantage. But the core of MQA, if you were to talk to Bob Stewart, is that they make up for is a tough thing. Well, let's back up a little bit. When we do digital audio, there is a process that takes A to D, analog to digital, and then digital back to analog. Every time you do that, you are going through a complex set of filters and devices that will in fact change the sound. It happens on the A to D, going from in the recording studio when we take the analog and we convert it to digital. It does the same when we're going from our CD player or our streaming media place to analog that we can then hear. All of those have an impact, and MQA is designed to sort of make up for those filtering differences and those impulse response differences so that you get closer to the master quality that was actually on the original master tape or the live performance that went straight to digital. That was their goal. That's why it's called master quality authenticated, because you'll get a green light that shows, yep, this is as close as you're going to get to the master copy or tape through this digital process, and it makes up for it by running it through kind of reverse filters. Maybe is an easy way to explain it. So great goals. Now let's touch just for a second. I said this would be a little controversial. Let's touch for a second on why people are upset with it. And at first I was as well, and at first we weren't going to support it. Bandwidth today is almost unbelievable. I can stream on demand 4K video into my house, which is, or even HD video, on demand, right? Think about that. Millions of people throughout our society, our first world society, can go, I want to see Crocodile Dundee today. Boom, done. You have opened a pipe for a high resolution, high bandwidth video to stream only to you. And the guy next door is doing the same thing. So we have bandwidth out the butt. I mean, we got tons of bandwidth. And to consider that I want to make a format simply to reduce the demands of bandwidth at the expense, or the possible expense, of the quality of my high-end audio experience, I think doesn't make sense. We don't have a bandwidth problem. So that part of it doesn't make sense to me. I understand Tidal doesn't want to pay for it. That's fine. Charge me a little more. Charge me $30, right? Right now it's $20 for CD quality, which can also be $192, but it's in compressed form. But hey, you know what? I'm an audiophile. I'll pay an extra $10. That's okay. Just don't mess with my music, buddy. So that's one objection I have. The other one is I have yet to hear a lossy format of any kind that doesn't lose something when I play it on Music Room 1. I have a highly resolving system, and in that system I hear the loss of what is supposedly nothing to worry about losing. So I don't like it. Now, lastly, why did we put it into our equipment? Our customers wanted it. Our customers, I don't want them saying, well, I can't, I'm not going to buy PS Audio because we don't have MQA. I want them to experience it. And I would say 70 to 80% of the people I talk to as PS Audio owners like MQA. They like what it does. They think it sounds better. And that's great. It's what it's all about. Hope that helps answer your question a little bit. It's a good one. Had to think about tackling it or not, but thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.